Man, this comic book sucks! And the reviews online said it was good! I wasted my money! Why didn't somebody tell me?
Hey everybody, we're back at Spinner Rack. We're doing our comic reviews. We got 3 reviews for you, but as always, they'll be broken up. So I'm just giving you an intro just to remind you that there's another one to look for. So here's Petey's right here, the Prime Minister, and we have
Calvin Ellis, ready to rock. Okay, so who's on deck first?
Well, if you look behind us, we have a female character. This is the Doctor, and this Doctor's in Wonder Woman 22. And Wonder Woman's been, I don't know if Wonder Woman's going strong, but they're 22 issues in. I haven't heard anything bad about it, so we decided let's do a Wonder Woman review. We got the movie coming out. We got a lot of things happening. So we're like, let's look at what's going on with Wonder Woman. And in this issue, we have, what else would you want in the comic? You want someone auctioning off Wonder Woman, right? I would want that. I could possibly, I don't have the millions of dollars to afford Wonder Woman, but there's an auction for Wonder Woman. It's for charity. There was an amnesty. There's for charity.
All right, and since Wonder Woman is a feminist character, who buys her? A woman.
Well, you know, there's prospects. There's like Bruce Wayne, and the only 2 real millionaires or billionaires in the DC universe. So you have Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor. Of course, they're there. And then there's some unnamed woman. What's her name? Gail? Was it Dr. Gail? So she buys and she outclasses the women and she buys Wonder Woman.
You didn't have a problem with that right there?
I had a problem with the whole thing.
Because they were doing the whole, what is it? I think it got as high as how much? Was it 6 million, 7 million?
7 million. I think 15
and it just looked like Lex Luthor and Bruce Wayne. I was like, don't you guys have billions of dollars? And then, you know, and Lex Luthor's kind of giving him a dirty look. I'm like, just outbid him. You have the money if you want to. He's like, okay, a date with Wonder Woman, there's a cap. There's a limit on how much we should spend on her. And then,
they both have a limit.
And then, with, Dr. Gale comes in, 15 million. And then they both look pissy about the whole thing. I said, you can outbid her. You have enough money.
No, it's a pissing contest, and this woman beat the 2 top guys.
That's
in DC.
right. She beat them. A woman beat another guy, urinating, standing up. Okay? That's where we are today.
Don't get offended. This is how it is. It happens. We just announced that she won. It happened in the comic, but we're going with it. So then they can't have the date right now. So they have this little banter like it's real life. You know, they're like, it's really playing up the day in your life sort of thing. So they can't necessarily meet up. So they're like, let's meet tonight because it'll be, we find the time. Okay. So Wonder Woman is looking, that's the one thing that sort of bugs me. Wonder Woman comes out in this sort of, it seems see-through outfit. And she's auctioning it off. So even with the progressive stuff, it is still sort of playing to the boys and having Wonder Woman.
How are you going to get around it?
But
how are you going to get around it? You're going to show up, okay, so you're going to show up for a date auction. And you're going to show up for a date auction in what?
Well, I'm just thinking like,
I'm thinking a burqa?
I'm thinking how.
You got to show the goods.
I'm thinking how Perez and how Byrne or some of the other artists, when they drew Wonder Woman in out of costume, she still was like, you just look at her and you're like, oh, sweat. That's that's how I'd imagine Wonder Woman walks into your room and you're like, oh, you notice her for 2 seconds. This one is like, I'm trying to be noticed. Whereas she'd have the basic, the bird symbol, whatnot in the comics, and it was just like, it's amazing.
It's just a tough thing.
Like I would buy Wonder Woman for $50. Oh no, I'm being sexist. Oh no.
Yeah, thank you, Third Wave. Thank you, Third Wave. That's just a tough thing to do because because we have put so much of a premium on a woman's body that it's supposed to be she can wear whatever she wants and it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But if there's some dudes behind it, she's being sexualized. Yeah. She's being exploited, and then at the end of the day, it's Wonder Woman. Yeah. Wonder Woman is what? Now they have her at 6 feet tall, and she still has a voluptuous body. How in the world do you hide any of that? You can't hide from the height, or the proportion, or anything of that nature of the body. So for me, it's just not a big deal. And it's at a date auction. It's at a date auction for me. I just didn't put too much into it. I had more of an issue with the fact that after the date, when I see her in plain clothes, I was like, why does she look like Wonder Girl?
Yeah,
it's like, we can't get away from that.
That's even bigger for me because she looks very ordinary, and it was like, I had in the comic panel, it's hard to pick out. It's like, okay, I'm guessing this is supposed to be Wonder Woman right here. So, there's some hint of all this, she's struck out for, gender and sexual equality.
Yeah.
So she's getting all this death threats. Like, it always happens in the real world.
They checked all the boxes.
There's always death threat, and you need like this team poison to protect you when you sort of strike out that way.
Not human rights, gender equality,
Yeah.
and sexual equality. That's what's topical right now.
So he made a good point there.
You got to go back to
point.
no. You got to go back to. I know you're a big proponent of the Perez stories, and you have to go back there where Wonder Woman. And this was something that really attracted me to the stories earlier on. She was this ambassador, but she was more about uplifting humanity as a whole. It was not like, hey, look, I'm just here to help the chicks, and that will be the end of it. She's like, no, what I have is to share for everybody, okay? And yes, the forefront of it is going to be because I'm a woman, and there's a whole bunch of issues over here that are definitely going to be close to my heart. But this is not a message that is localized for any particular group. I'm an ambassador showing, look, how we went from this to this, okay? We want to bring you along as well. Now, I mean, not so much as with Marvel as I see with DC, but Wonder Woman's definitely a lot harder right now because the gaze is on it a lot harder. Like you have to allow me a little bit of a segue here. I was reading this. There was a Superman issue where Batman's there and his son, and Superman's there and his son, and Lois Lane is like, they're at some kitchen table, and Lois Lane is serving them. And you would read the comments, and they got a whole bunch of comments on that about, oh, why is she serving them? Clark should get up and help, and all this internet rage. Now, mind you, then the very next week there's a Supergirl issue, and they're at the Fortress of Solitude. Clark is serving everybody. Nobody's helping Clark, and there is no reaction to it whatsoever. So that's part of that's just part of the difficulty you have right now, because everything is very hypercritical. When it comes to these things that have been made hypercritical, obviously it's Lois Lane. If she doesn't want to serve somebody, she's not going to do it. It's Lois Lane. That's part of the characterization that we're losing here. So I come back over here, and those little things do detract from me from the story. The unnecessary, who's the biggest man contest? It's a woman. How is she going to have to be dressed? Those type of things are nitpicks for me in this particular story. I enjoyed it up until the point I realized that you cannot really understand what's going on in this story if you haven't read the previous 2 issues. And that is always one of my gripes with modern comics. Bronze Age comics, even Copper Age comics to a large extent, you could pick up any particular issue and you could just get into the story for the most part. There may be some things that, okay, I needed to have read before, so on and so forth, but you could pretty much get into it. This story only makes complete sense if you read the previous 2 issues. That's the only way you could, because I had to go back and read the last 2 issues in order to really understand why this was important.
Can you just give a brief of what's missing? Because I hadn't read the first 2. I just was like, this is just some sort of
the way
weird
that the way that the storyline has been going is that it's divided. Issues 1, 3, 5, those are all set in the present, and issues 2, 4, 6 are part of what was supposed to be the Wonder Woman Year 1. Wonder Woman Year 1 storyline.
You were telling me that.
So I thought it was over. I had stopped reading when Rucka came out and said that Wonder Woman was bisexual or queer. I was like, okay, enough. I'm tired. I don't want to be part of this trend that you guys are going with. Yeah. But I thought the Wonder Woman Year 1 storyline was over. It turns out, no, it's been going on. Nicola Scott has been doing art on it. So if you read the 2 books, it's totally different art teams, even though Rucka's writing it. So in this issue, you see, Dr. Gale, like, okay, fine. But if you read the previous 2 issues, you realize Dr. Gale has already been introduced. So this issue is the flashback issue as to where they first met. But if you read the previous issue, you find out, okay, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the future involving her already, and you understand what's the significance of this first meeting and what's going and why this, why reading the other issue helps to make for a stronger read and a stronger tie-in. So that is always the issue I have with the comic, where, okay, you needed to read the last 6 issues in order to understand this one. And we're dealing with a serial. Like any of those older serials you would watch, like if it was the Captain America, Captain Marvel, Batman, Superman, whatever it may be. When you're coming in, when we last left our hero, X, Y, and Z, they tell you everything that you need to know. Not all the details, but enough so you can get off to the races with what's going right here. You don't get this here. It's not and it's not that the story isn't enjoyable. I actually thought it was a well-written story, good art. But that's always something I say, look, it takes people out of it when they have to realize, oh, I got to go back and spend $15 just so I can understand what's going on right here. That is always an issue I've had with how they do modern comics right now.
Well, one of the things I found when I was first reading comic books is that, like, going back and reading the X-Men, that's the first sort of back issues I bought. Like, I would get one, I got like one issue of the Dark Phoenix saga, and not that I was confused, it's just that I wanted to see more. And that's what you should have when you in the middle of a story. Is like, not that you needed to read it. What you got was a complete story, but you wanted to find out what happened. And that's one of the things that I'm not really necessarily interested in finding out what happened before. I'm just saying, this is some weird date. This woman back here has some sort of plan that she hasn't really revealed, and so it's just sort of it's a day in a life sort of issue. And it ends kind of weird, and it also plays to the,
It ends weird because you didn't read the previous issue.
No, I'm saying it ends weird, but it ends because Gail is trying to do more to find out about her.
All the stuff at the end of the issues, she details what the real reason why she was willing to pay all the money and so on. And then Wonder Woman also comes to look, I'm hip to you. I know you're up to something. I can't say exactly what it is, but I know something is going on. If you read the previous issue, you know exactly what was going on. Okay, the previous issue sets up exactly what's going on and what her motivations are.
With Ares stuff?
Yeah. This issue right over here, all that does for you is this is how it started. Okay, so in the present we see where what the result is of what was started so many years ago, and that's where everything is at. So, and again, I have it. If you were to read the next issue, and it tells you at the end too. Next issue, we're continuing the past storyline, and then come back in 2 weeks for the current storyline. That's a lot. I think that's a lot to ask of a. Oh man.
Well, it's every 2 weeks, so they're trying to hedge their bets in doing this.
It's every 2 weeks for every major book. Batman, Superman, Detective Comics, Action Comics are all running on 2 weeks, and their storylines aren't interwoven. Okay, like say Action Comics and Superman comics, their storylines aren't interwoven. But it's not like one issue of Superman is in the past and the other issue of Superman is in the future. And Greg Rucka's leaving the book soon. So
is he finishing his run, or he just exiting?
He's gonna finish whatever, I guess. Runs aren't what they used to be. But then if you look at it, you have 22 issues that he's been behind, and when let's say he goes all the way up to, let's say he does another 4 issues. Okay, so he does 26 issues. We got 13 issues that were set in the present and 13 issues that were set in the past, which might have been better if he had just decided, look, where do I want this book to be? It's either past or coming all the way up to the future. And, that's one of the problems I think Wonder Woman has overall. There's no, we discussed this before.
We're going to argue about this again. No.
Look, there's no, I'm reading through all this and I'm like, look, there's nothing wrong with it. It's competent. Okay, better than competent. Okay, it's good art, good story. But at the end of the day, because somebody else is coming on, they're going to change or ignore a whole bunch of that stuff when they get there, just like they did with Azzarello's run. And Azzarello's run was hella bad.
Well, I'm just gonna add to that is I don't remember Azzarello. I remember Greg Rucka's earlier one, and one of the things that I would say Perez did, and Byrne sort of continued, was they gave her a supporting cast. Like the original series had the Amazons and Steve Trevor, and then Perez had the Amazons. Had Steve Trevor, Etta Candy, had the, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, Barbara Minerva was there, right?
But no, well, Barbara Minerva was there, but it's also having the Kappa, the Greek family, the daughter and the mother and daughter.
Oh, with the Silver Swan?
Yeah, well, let's cut the Silver Swan part, because that comes much later, and that's sort of, who's that guy? Just having a supporting cast that doesn't go crazy. Like Perez had it, and the character didn't go crazy. She was just this girl that looked up to Wonder Woman. Byrne had a different one because she had separated and moved to another area, but had those two characters come back a couple of times. So Wonder Woman had a decent supporting cast of people she could talk to. And then, just like most characters, like Superman, at times works where you don't need to have the supporting cast all the time, but it's always good to go back. And then Batman, stories are better when you have the supporting cast. And with Wonder Woman, they're just like, well, I'm doing it. Why would they create these other boring characters? Like, you want a stable thing that Wonder Woman come back to. And they had enough characters, but then they took, Wonder Girl, they grew her up and turned her into jailbait and whatnot. It's like, how did she get this body? And she's only like 13. She was like a stick figure in the Byrne run. And they're like, no, that's not real.
Oh, that Wonder Girl. I was thinking Donna Troy.
No, not Donna Troy, but, like that aspect of resetting up a supporting cast. And then the new writers are just like, why would they do that? It's like, you want to ground the series. And that's what people keep throwing out every time they start over and say, well, this just like, either come up with something of normal characters, or else you just have Wonder Woman and nothing behind it. It's okay when you do a story like Alex Ross's Superman story.
Like
with
Kingdom
him.
Come?
Not Kingdom Come, but the one they did the one shot.
Okay,
where
okay.
He
He's on
goes
Earth.
and it's not. There's no supporting characters in it, and it works. I wouldn't say you would do that all the time, but you can do a story that's solid with Superman without the supporting cast. With Batman, when they did War on Crime, I don't think that worked as well because Batman stories work better when you have Alfred and Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
And you're seeing other characters need sort of a supporting cast, and that's what the Marvel characters do with Spider-Man having a strong supporting
Yeah,
cast.
without the extra characters, it's just this guy in a suit and he's
Yeah.
angry and he's beating up guys. He needs that interaction. Other than
Yeah.
that, it's just him fighting criminals
Yeah.
all of the time.
So if you,
But Wonder Woman's worse off.
but
because-
they keep
because she-
throwing them out. They keep tossing. Excuse
I'm
me,
looking
they
at
keep
this right
tossing
here.
them out.
It's the same thing I've said. Look, Perez's run, to be quite
If they
honest.
kept the characters, they
No,
could have done it.
Perez's run, to be quite honest, okay, that should be the seminal run on Wonder Woman, okay, brought a modern audience, excellent art, okay, very good story. And when I look back on it, I was like, okay, why was this just, literally, it's like, okay, once Perez left, it was almost like none of it happened to a certain extent, or it was not maintained. And then I'm looking at the same thing with Rucker. Rucker's doing his best to try to build up something here. And when he leaves, it's going to be gone. There's certain elements to Wonder Woman that to be honest, they haven't gone anywhere with since Marston was on the book. Marston was off the book. That's it. Okay, we're going to let all of this go. And what remains at the end of the day? There will be a Paradise Island. There will be Wonder Woman. There'll be some Amazons. And then everything else is up for grabs.
That's the thing. You can't. I mean, it's an editorial thing, and I know that writing has changed where the readers aren't too keen on having these ordinary characters anymore. They're more into the way the X-Men books are. If you look at the Byrne run, you look at Neil Adams, look at Kirby, where they set up some human characters in the X-Men, and then when you get to Age of Apocalypse, there are no human characters. It's just mutant next to mutant, no human connection, no stuff like I think in the Days of Future Past, they're fighting in Washington, and there's a senator on the fence of whether mutants are good or bad. Like you should have some sort of human connection to these stories, and I think the fans have gotten into battle versus battle, but then when you do these everyday story, it's like what was going on with Wonder Woman, like with Perez, when Perez did the Titans, when they did a day in the life, it felt like a day in the life.
Yeah.
This is a day in the life story, and it feels like it's a phony backdrop.
It is.
Doesn't feel like Wonder Woman goes change her clothes. It's just like, what's going on here?
The last good day in the life they did with Wonder Woman, Phil Jimenez was on the book, and she was being shadowed that whole day by Lois Lane. And I was looking at the whole thing, and I said, I think it was in this Wonder Woman omnibus, and I said, this actually works better as a Lois Lane story than it does as a Wonder Woman story. But then I said, okay, what was great about this? You got to see what she's supposed to be like as a regular person, what her story beats are supposed to be. And even then, it didn't come across 100% genuine because, okay, Superman is what? Superman, Clark Kent, Metropolis, Lois Lane, the powers, Krypton. Those are things that are indelible. They don't go anywhere. Batman, Bruce Wayne. Even if you don't see Bruce Wayne for like the rest of the year, you already know, okay, he's the billionaire, Gotham City, so on and so forth. The great supporting cast, the colorful villains, those guys don't go anywhere. With Wonder Woman, I guess maybe that's the best way to put it. There is a bit of building, and they demolish it, with the exception of Wonder Woman, Paradise Island, Amazon. She has no city that she's connected to after almost 70 years.
That's the thing.
Over 70
they
years,
had
rather.
two cities. They have Boston, and then they had a city next to San Francisco. And then it's just like, you know what? Let's just. We've come a long way, people. Where we fought on this Wonder Woman issue. If you can go through all the old ones, and we finally come to a point where we can somewhat agree a little bit. But that's the thing where you get to the end of this book, and it's to bring it back to Wonder Woman 22 is, I would, as far as the writer or the next person, try to draw back into the history. You see with Superman, even though it's nonsense what's going on of them trying to go back to his history, piece together something.
That mess.
But piece together a place where she can at least interact with normal people, and that would give you a better backdrop instead of just having, you know, Wonder Woman versus this other thing. Because I mean, it doesn't. None of the superheroes work well separately from their supporting cast. Besides Superman, you can do 3 or 4 issues. You could do maybe a year, but at some point you feel like at that point you'd want them back.
Yeah.
But 3 stories, you're okay. But Batman, you need them every other issue. If you miss an issue, at some point you want Bruce Wayne back. At some point that, and Wonder Woman. That's what I mean. Comics have changed a lot, and I know the fans will be like, "Why am I reading this boring thing with her, with the Greek family or the?"
Yeah, because that's the building. That's the interaction. That's where she
Yeah.
gets to have that character development
Yeah.
that establishes this is what Wonder Woman. This is who she is. This is what she's going to do.
Yeah.
This is what she would not do. The biggest feeling. I mean, I don't have any problem with the issue. I thought the issue was good. I couldn't really recommend it for anybody to read because I can see those signal lights coming where this is not going to hold. This is going to be demolished the second he gets off of the book. Why? Because the sales reaction to it are healthy, but not overwhelming. So that gives you all this room to say, okay, this isn't working. Not that this was good, we need to continue in this matter and build on it, but this isn't working because we didn't have off-the-chart sales.
Well, let's say, what about, let's end on, besides doing our score, let's end on what did you feel about the kiss on the cheek?
I just feel that's more of the agenda, that sort of thing.
We're touching on, there is a kiss on the cheek.
Why a kiss on the cheek as opposed to a handshake?
That's the thing.
Or
it's,
a hug,
it's also a first date, and there's no
But
necessarily
that's the thing,
chemistry
they're
if
still-
you're going that route.
They're
There's no
still trying to
chemistry before it
imply
happened.
the implication on that, okay? Today, 2017, the implication on that is different than in, say, 1997 or 1987. Kiss on the cheek would have been just a kiss on the cheek. But to be honest, it's a date, and the idea of Wonder Woman being bought by another woman to go on a date is also something that they're just being really obvious with it. They've got it in the crosshairs and they're shooting at it because they think that's who their audience is and that's what their audience wants to see. The biggest thing I noticed, I've seen this stuff happen with comics before. Eventually, all the people who are reading it for reasons other than the fact that they like or love Wonder Woman and want to read her regular adventures, they leave.
Yeah.
And then, what have you got left at this point? So, that type of stuff, I look at it and to be honest, to a certain extent, just comes across as cheap because it's fan service, but for who? Because most of the readers of Wonder Woman are not asking for any of that type of stuff, but they're giving it anyway because. And this is the funny thing, because Wonder Woman is, she's a feminist icon, right? All the popular female characters are feminist icons, all of them, right? There is no, not Batgirl, not Black Canary, okay? Even the villains, Catwoman, Harley Quinn, they're all feminist icons at the end of the day. So if that's the case, it's just like, look, as long as she's female and she's popular enough, she's automatically going to be a feminist icon. Then you don't need to do any of this type of stuff. They can just tell their adventures, and then people have to understand. Look, is she a feminist icon for what the character represents? Or is it just because she's a woman and she's popular? And that's something that they have to ask themselves when they're reading it and why they support the book or why they want to see certain things in it as well.
Yeah. So I'm giving this book 2 stars. I'm not necessarily recommending it, but it's readable. So if you're going that route and you've read the other stories, I'm not going to recommend it to anyone, but I'm saying it's definitely readable. So that's as much as I can give to it. What do you say?
This is hard. No, I would like to go higher, but for somebody who's looking for, look, I want to read and I want to read for a long time. This is not going to be the series for you. So I'm agreeing with Pete. It's going to be 2 stars.
It's a first.
It's going to be 2 stars. Why?
Because first.
For the Wonder Woman reader, I think you'll be pleased. I don't think you'll have any issue with this, but you want to draw some other people in, and the way they're going about it, you're not going to draw anybody in, especially when it feels like there's some agenda to it as well. Because when you do that, you're going to have people on one side, people on other side. The people who agree with it are there. The people who don't agree with it, they're going to leave. And the people who are in the middle, they're going to end up leaving too because they don't want to feel like they have to pick a side.
Yeah.
So, you got to hit a little bit, just shoot a little bit straighter. Leave all the agenda stuff to everyone else and just tell some dynamic stories. You were able to do it before, you can do it again.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And we will be getting you your second review of our day soon. You know it's the same day because we got the same clothes on. Thank you, everybody.
Coming right up.
Thanks, Spinnerack. You saved me money.